This video is brought to you by NordVPN, but more on that in a moment. Well, fucking hello there, you lovely bunch of coconuts. I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. And last time I sat down and roasted the ever-loving shit out of the 30 best or most popular commanders, you fuckers loved it. You lapped it up like a dog drinking cum. I don't know why I even said that sentence out loud. And I was always planning to do some more, but you liked it so much, here we are again. So this is not necessarily a monthly occurrence, but it might be. Because I will just give you whatever you like because I need the attention. To fill you in on where we're going, I have taken the next 30. If you want to see the first 30, there's a link in the little eye, wherever the fuck that is, and in the cards and in the description below to the first roasting Commander players for 20 minutes straight. Today, I have got number 31 through 60. That is 30, right? Maths is hard. I've got the next 30 most popular commanders from EDH Rec. I've put them into a tier list. We're going to put them into the tiers. This is going to be based upon things like science, the scientific fact of opinion. I'm going to use a bit of power level. I'm going to use a bit of how I feel about it, the community's reaction to the commander, the kind of people that play it. Last time the comments were varied. People kind of got where I was going with this and were fucking into it. Others were like, how did you put that at B? It was obviously stronger than the things at C. It's not all on power level. Just to clarify that as clearly and as concisely as possible, it's not all about power level, you fucking cunts. So if you're easily offended, if you get upset about someone just playfully joking around and roasting you a little bit, then step away from the video. Just pause it, hit the like button, drop a little comment saying how much you think I'm hot, and then just step away. You don't have to finish the video if you think it's going to upset you. So we have a tier list of S through D. We have 30 commanders. A bit more of a varied lot than the first time round. There's actually less, I'm saying this, I think there's less 4 and 5 color bullshit in here, but we'll soon find out. But before we do, a quick message from our sponsors. Today's video is brought to you by NordVPN. NordVPN allows you to take control of your online browsing and content consumption experience. Instead of only having access to the stuff available to you in your region on streaming services like Netflix, you can instead load up on K-drama or Grey's Anatomy or whatever it is you're into by simply switching over to a different server, such as the US or Korean servers, to get access to content that isn't supposed to be accessible to you in your region. This might sound cheesy, but in short, you get to enjoy the internet without borders. Which is kind of, that is cheesy, but it's kind of utopian and I love it. They also help you to secure your internet browser with next generation encryption, IP changes to cover your web traffic, and a strict no logs policy, meaning you can look at whatever freaky weird shit you want, and NordVPN says it's none of its business. They're not trying to figure out what categories you look at on Pornhub, they just don't care. You can set it up on not just one, not just 2, but up to 6 devices connected at the same time to secure them all via NordVPN. And right now you can get a 2-year plan with a huge discount at nordvpn.com/Kenobi and use the code Kenobi to get 1 additional month free. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/Kenobi, Kenobi, to take control of your internet today. For those of you that watched through the ad integration, didn't skip it, as I can see from my analytics, I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Now click the link down below. Go on, go on. Right, let's start with Jehovah Weatherlight Captain. Easy for me to say with my soft R's, but her name begins with a W. I've got a super fucking soft spot for old school Jehovah, the one that gives cards to spend. I used to enjoy suspending Eldrazi and mass land destruction and all sorts of things, like some sort of doomsday teller, right? Stood on the fucking side of the road, the end is nigh on a big board, because the end is nigh, because we're casting literal annihilation in 4 turns if you don't fucking hurry up. The new one is probably stronger in terms of being an insurmountable combo engine. I think I'm going to put her solidly at B. I'm a big fan of drawing cards, especially when there's a certain way to do it. Not like Tulane, where you just get to draw cards or playing the game, but with Historic it means you can play your sagas and, let's be real, your artifacts, right? People are going to play their artifacts to get there, so she's the Artifact Storm Commander, and I'm cool with it. She doesn't piss me off or upset me. In some ways I kind of want to build her. The only reason I'm not going to build her myself, because I still need to rebuild Niv Mizzet it. I don't want to have 2 blue-red decks on the go at once. And then we have the Scarab God, the bane of Standard, a powerful cube card, a reanimator commander who can steal other people's stuff. And that's the good sign of a reanimated commander, in my opinion. I get that often reanimating your own stuff is more powerful, but I personally want to play with everyone else's toys, okay? I love me a Carador for the sheer value that he brings to the table. Carador is one of my all-time favorites. But the idea of playing other people's shit is much more exciting. The interesting thing about the Scarab God is having a 4 mana activation cost means that he isn't really busted. It means that when you've got a shit ton of mana, you can actually get multiple activations and more value out of him, but also lower down the scale when it's early game, you only get 1 go around the table to grab something. It can keep other people's graveyards in check. You know what, I'm gonna put it at A. It's not oppressive, it's not obnoxious, but it's a cool commander nonetheless. Anamar is one of the OG, one of the original precon commanders. He goes infinite with several colorless creatures that bounce themselves back to hand. He is a popular card with Toma, so I gotta drag it down for that. And the thing I have a problem with Anamar is the random protection from white and protection from black. Here's an interesting point, right? We're talking about how white as a color in Commander is a little bit weak. How many other colors in Commander, other than white and black here, obviously, have randomly in the top 60 commanders of all time, cards that have protection from that color? It's very bizarre. I don't think it was on purpose. I like Anamar, but I think he's a little bit too good. I'm going to put them in the coward tier, because he is probably one of, if not the best rug commander. Najeela is going in D, the dog shit tier. Now, the reason for that is I'm going to just put out my biases out in the open and let people know I kind of fucking hate 5-color commanders, and I'm not a fan of 4-color either. I talked about this in the last video. Najeela being a warrior tribal commander is really cool and everything, but the fact that she goes infinite so fucking easily really grinds my gears. Like, the fact that she untaps those creatures and they gain lifelink, trample, and haste until end of turn, and gives you an extra, combat step. It's 5 mana to do all the things. If you've got a combat celebrant or any of the other things that give you extra turns, she just fucking does it. I'm honestly kind of flabbergasted at how absurdly powerful she actually is. You attack with warriors, you get more warriors. She also untaps them. She also gives them 3 different keywords and gives you extra combat steps, all for the low price of a 3 mana 3/2 that gives you access to all 5 colors of mana. I think the biggest problem with 5-color commanders, in my opinion, is that Wizard of the Coast consistently just push the envelope on them so far that they're just fucking obnoxious. If you're playing Najeela, you're just pretending you're not playing 5-color. Playing the mono red 5-color commander makes you look a little bit less sus, but I fucking see you. I know what you're doing. Nekosar. How many times have you sat at a fucking table and someone has told you, oh, my Nekosar deck's not like everyone else's, then they proceed to wheel the table 6 times and kill everyone. Nekosar is a little bit on the boring side. I'm going to put him at bottom of B tier. I got a soft spot for him because he's powerful, but at least he's not fucking pretending. It's obvious what he's about to start doing. The original Eminence Commander, Oloro, affecting the fucking battlefield from beyond the battlefield, giving you 2 life every turn just for being in the command zone. I believe this might have been the first instance of referencing the command zone on a commander, and people sleep on Oloro a little bit now, I think. I think that life gain is not considered as good as some of the other Eminence shit we've seen with Jorgmorph and the Big Dragon Daddy and shit. But yeah, Oloro is kind of annoying to play against, but it's not the obnoxious, incidental hate of Anamar or the overpowered nonsense of Najeela. Kynius and Tiro of Meletis. Fucking easy for you to say. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land card from his or her hand onto the battlefield, and then each opponent who didn't draws a card. I fucking love this commander. It is 4-color, but it's probably my favourite of all of them. I love the fact that there's loads of people who are just super into it because it's 2 big gay kings. I'm fucking all for that. But also the fact that it's a group hug commander that isn't dumb. That isn't, Nekosar is arguably group hug because you're going to let everyone draw 7 cards over and over again. But it's, I said he's very honest about what he does. I guess you could be a fucking liar and play Nekosar. But the kings are the de facto go-to, other than Feldergriff, the de facto go-to group hug. Softly, let's get everyone into this game, Commander, and I fucking love it. Does anyone else think Marquess looks like the lead woman from Look Who's Talking? Okay, I did have to look her up. It's Kirstie Alley. She's also in Star Trek and Cheers and shit, so it's not just Look Who's Talking. Weird reference for me to go to. I'm only 21. Marquess of the Black Rose is the precursor to Queen Marquessa the Mardu one. We get the Grixis one, which has Dethrone, a mechanic that I would like to see return. I quite like it. I like the fact that she's a Grixis commander that can bring things back from the graveyard. Sure, they come back this turn. Sure, they have to have a counter on them. I think that if she was printed now, it wouldn't be +1/+1 counter. It'd be just a counter. And that way we'd start to see, like, play with the counters that we saw in Ikoria and stuff. We're seeing that more with the Strixhaven commanders now. But I think Marquessa is top of B tier for being a perfectly reasonable, fun commander that gives you a route to go down of getting value in an aristocrat's kind of way, while she is a literal aristocrat. I'm into it. I've always wanted to build Enchantress, and Tuvasa would be the one that I would build. She's a bit of the obvious one, but she also isn't hideously powerful. Compare her to Tulane. Tulane is just a wall of dumb text that never should have all been on the same card. Meanwhile, Tuvasa just gets big. She gives you a Voltron option for your enchantment commander. She's also a Merfolk if you want to go down that route. And whenever you cast your first enchantment spell each turn, draw a card. If they just put the fucking actual Enchantress shit on there where you draw a card every time you cast an enchantment, I would have hated her. But honestly, I think Tuvasa is actually quite a solidly designed card that isn't obnoxious and gives you two ways to play the game, and it's just cool to get a strong banned Enchantress commander. I'm also shocked that some of these being so popular. I had no idea that Tuvasa would be in the top 60 of legendary creatures on EDH Rec. Angie Valkenrath, we're going to put her in B at the bottom. She was by far the best of her bunch in terms of power level of the deck itself and what Angie did. Angie does some good shit. I've seen her see a little bit of play in Legacy when she first got released. I think she's a reasonable Madness commander. I just find Madness fucking boring. But that said, I wonder if I find it boring because just inherently discarding cards makes me feel sad. And I don't feel sad when I'm immediately reanimating them later down the line. But the idea of like discarding to cast them for less, just, yeah, it bugs me. I think the fact that you can only untap it off of actual cards of Madness feels a little bit narrow, where cards that talk about a certain permanent type are less narrow. I know I'm being a bit pedantic here because I sometimes talk about how I prefer cards to be more narrow and not just be all-encompassingly good, but this is too narrow. Referencing just one mechanic is a little bit too narrow. I'm glad it exists, but I'm never fucking playing it. Jorgmorph Thran Physician is the edgiest of the commanders here. There's a lot of commanders in this thing that I don't have strong feelings for. And I think Jorg is another one of them. I think the fact that he draws you cards off of, again, sacrificing your own bodies and playing into the aristocrat thing is cool. I love the theme and flavour of him. He does look a bit like a goth, though. Like, he probably listens to a little bit of, what's goth music? I was tempted to just play this up and be like, he obviously listens to Papa Roach and all that screamy music, as if I had no idea what actual, like, music that a goth one metalhead would listen to. But I decided not to go down that street. He's obviously a big fan of Stained and Nickelback, those famous goth bands. How the fuck is Gired on here? It seems like every commander from that set, from the set just prior to COVID, the set that came out during GP Vegas of the year before last. I want to put Gired in, I don't want to put him in coward tier, but I feel like Gired is rather boring. I have a Gired deck in that cupboard behind me and I haven't played it for, well, mainly because of the pandemic, but I haven't played it on Webcam Commander at all for over a year. I need to upgrade it and change it to a different commander, I think. I just don't get excited by like a singular instance of Populate. It's a prime example of how Tulane is too far on one end to be boring because it's too powerful, and Gired is, it makes a 4/4 populate a 4/4. It's perfectly okay if you're playing with just the precons or a low power level, but it's rather unexciting beyond that. That said, I do like the fact that you can jump through hoops to get further with Gired. Like, you can Helm of the Host himself and that sort of stuff. Like, you can get some powerful things when you're making copies of himself and taking extra combat steps and stuff. So I do like that, but I still think he's a bit boring. Sergwin, a Mardu equipment commander. There's just something about her that I find dull. Like, I don't want to play her. I have no problem with other people playing her. I'm glad she exists. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I'm going a lot of gut feeling today. I'm just in that kind of mood. Drawing a card every time you attack is very powerful with each creature that has equip that it attacks with. So I don't think I can put it in dog shit. I can't put it at bottom of B. I'm going to put it above Gired. She's just very, very good, but I don't know. It doesn't excite me. Mardu equipment doesn't excite me. But I'm also incredibly happy that it exists because when I saw her previewed alongside Tulane, I was like, that's the good shit. That's the good shit. Alright, I'm bringing it up to B. Fucking hell, I'm a middle of the road fence-sitting shitbag today, aren't I? Torbran is he brave? Is it brave to sit down with a Torbran and be like, well, you know what I'm gonna try and do today? Or is it the most basic bitch of basic bitch red stuff, right? It's not got the balls. I'm stitching my arse cheek, actually. Maybe I shouldn't do that whilst talking. Let's do that take again. He hasn't got the cojones of a heartless Hidegetsu who's gonna zap himself as well. Torbran, I mean, it is quite brave to just be so brash, so evidently obvious what you're gonna do. But I also find that kind of boring. He's like a Perforos, but with less cool stuff going on. I'm putting Torbran he's at the top of dog shit. Like, don't get me wrong, he's probably one of the most powerful burn commanders ever printed. But that's still like saying, I'm the sexiest dog turd you've ever seen. Kalmax is a weird one. If you storm out and you copy spells, he gets more counters, but it only copies the first spell you've cast each turn, which can just be a time warp. Look, Storm is for cunts. I'm putting him in D tier. Oh god, this is going to be a controversial one. I'm quite a big fan of Omnath, Locus of Rage. Locus of Creation, sorry, I get the names mixed up. I don't really like 4-color commanders in general, but I do like land value commanders. I'm going to put Omnath at the top of C tier, because whilst he's reasonable in Commander and quite strong, I originally assessed him as being a bit shit, but when I got to play with him, I was like, holy fuck, this guy's way better than I thought he was. But he's 4-color. The fact that he's just a cantrip of a commander anyway is kind of silly. Elementals is a really fun tribe to play in. That's the main reason that I do like Omnath. I'm not putting him in dog shit tier. But also, he caused so many fucking problems throughout Magic. I'm kind of angry at him. I'm not quite over that. Braco is S tier. There isn't enough Flicker commanders in Magic, so the de facto best one is going to go into S tier for now until we get some other ones, some more unique, interesting ones. The new one from Kaldheim that makes a 1/1 of 20 Flicker stuff out. I like that because it's an interesting way to take the Flicker. Braco is obviously very good as a stacks commander as well. And look, I think we should just get better at playing around stacks, alright? I ain't no fucking coward. I'll play in stacks. I'm going to have to stop saying the word coward in these videos. It's starting to lose all meaning. Alessia, who smiles at death. Big fan of this. I liked when they came along and did the we're like a red or a black commander like Tasiga, but we've got other colours in our colour identity thanks to the activated ability. Similar to what they did with Najeela, but Najeela was a piss take. Alessia is a reanimated commander that involves going to combat in Mardu colours. I just think that's a really cool space. Got a soft spot for Alessia. Tatyova, the Benthic Druid, the only uncommon commander we'll be talking about today from the looks of things. She's S tier. Look, I know people are going to compare her to Tulane and say, but Vince, you said that just playing Magic shouldn't reward you. And Tatyova isn't just playing Magic, she's a 5-mana 3/3. So everything else about her is a bit shit. But the fact that you can play lands, gain life and draw cards, and that's your game plan. She's the best lands commander in blue-green. Of course, they power crept her a little bit with the recent Leviathan from the last lot of commander decks. But I love her. She's my go-to commander. She's my favourite Value Town green-blue commander. Yeah, she can be a bit degenerate, but I feel like that's just the interaction of green and blue spells in your deck, and not necessarily her fault. I'm actually going to put her just below Braco at 2nd place in S tier. Look, you knew it was going to happen, alright? If you know anything about my content, you clicked into this, you knew that's where I was putting Tatyova. Nicol Bolas, baby's first Magic villain. I'm actually a big fan of this version of Nicol Bolas with a flip over, because it's just a lot of fucking work to flip him over. I'm going to put him in A tier. I think you aren't really ruining anyone's day. I mean, it does make each opponent discard a card. Okay, that's going to piss some people off. But you aren't ruining people's day. If you play him and flip him into the 7-mana version on the back of him and start fucking drawing cards and killing stuff, then you deserve all the credit you can get. Gitrog Monster, top of A, he is the green-black Tatyova. He cares more about the card lands being sacrificed than entering the battlefield, which I think is a cool distinction, which really plays up the black versus the blue. My problem with Gitrog is that I've always wanted to build a Gitrog deck, but it is basically going to be Tatyova, but black instead of blue. And I only play like 4 blue spells in Touch Over anyway. But I do love this big froggy bastard. This 5 mana 6/6 death touching bastard. Extra land drops, and also then when you mill yourself, when you crack fetch lands, when you discard lands at the end of turn, all of these things trigger and draw you cards. And yes, it's incredibly powerful, but not in a way that's like obnoxious like Najeela. Amanatu, the Fates Digger at 3 mana for a Planeswalker is... That's the downside, okay? The fact that it's a Planeswalker you can play so early, and Planeswalker commanders on the whole are quite bad because they can be threatened by a big board state, that bugs me a little bit. Being restricted to 3 colours in some ways is good because it makes it harder for her to be cast early, so you can't just Soul Ring her out. And I do like her as a Flicker commander as well. I do like the flavour that she's some sort of ghostly child from some plane we haven't visited yet. Flicker commanders are cool, drawing cards are cool, her ultimate is cool, everything about her is cool. Nah, fuck it. She's going to bottom of A then. Bottom of A. Also, for the record, because I don't know if I talked about it in the last video, I have no problem with Planeswalkers as commanders. I think the people who have a problem with that are normally just, I don't want to say cowards, but they're scared. And it shows. Joda is going to be the bottom of C tier. I do like the Sorcerer Supreme thing. I do like the Fist of Suns casting spells thing, but 5 color commanders can fuck off. Tessica, just bog standard bottom of B. Maybe I'll put him in mid B, to be honest, because he's a cool dude. You can play him early, he's got a big body, and he recursion cards out your bin. He's not doing much else other than that. He's got some fucking bananas. You know what? I'm going to put him towards the top of B. I'm not going to put him in A. Not powerful enough. But I respect people playing Tessica, because it means they aren't just being a shit. Kadena, Slinking, Sorcerer, another one that is very specific about what it's doing. It wants to play with Morph, Manifest, or Megamorph. I'm going to put him slightly above Angie for doing the same thing, where it plays very specifically with a certain mechanic, and that's fine. Drawing cards off that mechanic is also fine. I just think he's not that exciting. Atla is fucking awesome. I'm still sad that I've never gotten around to playing with her in Commander, or even like a Legacy Nick Fit version where I sack eggs to get creatures out of my deck. She generates eggs. You crack those eggs and birth creatures out of your deck. She is probably the coolest Naya legend they have ever printed from a thematic perspective. Yes, I'm going to be that bold. I think Atla is fucking cool. Also, you can play Rook Egg. And I've got a soft spot for Rook Egg. I'm very surprised that Elsa the Infinite is in this top 60. I couldn't tell you what Elsa the Infinite does. But this time around, I am going to look it up. 3/3, Prowess. You can look at top card of your library. You can cast it if it's non-creature on land. Oh, it's a future sight that makes your things have flash? Woo! Okay. Top of B. It's not exciting enough that I want to build a deck out of it, where everything in A upwards I kind of do. Yeah, that's fine. She generates zombies, she draws cards, and she is most importantly an Esper zombie. I'm putting the Lich Queen herself, Varina. I'm putting her just slightly above Alessia in terms of a commander that I do want to get around to building at some top point, which is Esper Zombie Tribal. Also, she's a zombie wizard too, so you could even go really off kilter and be like full-on wizard tribal, but with zombie tokens. You can do all sorts of flame-matic, flavorful stuff with her, and no one's going to look at her, she's sitting on the table and think, oh fuck, they're going to ruin my fun. So I'm into it. I think a Esper Zombie commander was a long time coming. I was glad when they made her, and I still haven't gotten around to building her or playing with her yet. Did I play on Commander Clash? Fuck, I can't even remember. The another X cost matters commander. It gives you mana. It's got Death Touch. It's a big old Nightmare Hydra. It's fine. It's so fine. I'm going to slap it in the middle of B. It's kind of dull. And then lastly, we come to another 5 mana commander. Now, you think I'm going to put this Niv Mizzet in dog shit tier? Well, you're completely correct. I love me a Niv. This is not Niv. This is some fucking imposter with 5 colours and its fucking mana cost. On the upside, whilst it's playable in Modern and Historic and Pioneer and stuff, and it's doing things in those formats, I think it's one of the weaker of the 5 colour commanders you get in Commander. I don't think it's as easy to go infinite with as it is with Joda or Najeela. Obviously it gets you lots of value, but honestly, I'm a big fan of Firemind, quite a big fan of Peyrune. Fuck Niv Mizzet Reborn. So, do you feel adequately roasted? Do you feel like I was a lot nicer this time round? I think the second 30, what I've learned, because I didn't really look at them much before filming this, is that I much prefer all of the fucking commanders in the second most popular 30, in the slots 31 through 60. The first 30 was a lot of obnoxious shit, and this was less of that. There's a lot of cards that I have not very strong feelings of, but I don't mind seeing across the table, and then quite a few commanders that I kind of still want to build. I haven't had a Braco built in a long time. I never got around to building Lich Queen, and Yeah, there's loads here. I need to build eggs. I need to build eggs that make creatures. Let me know if you disagree strongly with any of the stuff I have said in this video. Do you feel called out? Do you feel vindicated? Let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget, if you're looking to get NordVPN, there's a link down below as well to help you get that with a little bit of extra value added, and you get to support the channel as well. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I'm very close to getting a haircut soon because lockdown measures are easing. And I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.